Hey everyone, I'm going to just do a quick live stream here. Let me share the link for this. Give me 1 second. Click. And I'll share it in Discord and Twitter. Hope you all are doing well today. I talked about doing an all-day live stream where I analyze the market on, just all day, scalp ideas, high time frame ideas, but I don't think I'll do that today. But we'll talk a little bit about Bitcoin, maybe a few alts. Probably won't be a long live stream, but I thought it might be good to do an update. So let's start with Bitcoin. You know, I still have longs from down at the lows of the range. I took a long when we swing failured this low. And I'm still anticipating higher, although we are under important resistance. This was the point of control of the range. This is where the most volume is transacted, but you can see it's pretty evenly distributed here. And actually, I think if we re-pull it now, that we're on the point of control because it shifts with the new volume, right? We also have this ascending structure locally on a smaller time frame. And personally, I'm expecting higher, and I'm not particularly interested in shorts anywhere around here. Of course, anything can happen. We do have some bearish absorption in the order flow, some CBD divergences. But what I'm looking for is I wouldn't be surprised to see an impulse up into these highs. I'd be interested in taking a scalp short if we can sweep this high, even if we see weakness at this level, but ideally sweep this high, come back below it. I'd take a tight invalidation short with a stop above this new wick. But I wouldn't expect that to be a major high, although I'd be willing to leave some of my short position open if we don't see any strength. But definitely would want to take profits back down into a retest of the point of control. If we do make that new high, we could look for some confluences that don't exist now, but we can see that, I was just guessing, but the 382 would be coming in around there. So that would maybe offer some support. Maybe close 50% of the position, stop to entry, and leave it as a bit of a hedge for the longs if we get it. That'd be my idea. My major targets for Bitcoin would be, well, I'd like to see this high swept and see what we get. If we can get a swing failure of that high, that could be quite interesting for another short idea. Maybe we continue in on this range. And on a higher time frame, we have this major POC and golden pocket up here. And what I want to point out is when you're looking at shorting key levels and not trying to guess what's going to happen, it might be that you get a short here, you get some profits, the rest gets stopped out at entry, so you have a winner, and then you get a move up to here. Let me delete these other brush marks quickly, just so we're not creating too much of a mess on the chart. But anyways, you get this move, and then maybe you get the impulse up to the top of the range, and maybe you get something like this, and then maybe you get another move up into this POC. And what I want to point out is that shorting these key ideas might get you profitable trades as long as you're taking profits reasonably, right, on retracements. And just because I might take a short here doesn't mean I'm anticipating that that's necessarily going to be the major high, although there's never any way to know for sure. I'm just looking at shorting or trading, but in this case shorting, key technical ideas and taking profits reasonably. Ape would be such a great example of that because I took quite a few shorts on Ape, with my last short being up here, and I took profits down here towards this descending channel. But I also took a lot of trades, starting with a long much earlier. Um, took a lot of trades on ape on the way up and down, and I took some shorts on the way up. And maybe we got 4 or 5% retracements, but I'm taking profit, so I'm happy to short key levels, key ideas, and just take profits quickly, ultimately ending with a short up here. But anyway, so on Bitcoin, I definitely would be interested to see if we form some sort of ascending structure over the next couple weeks. Maybe we just get a strong impulse, and keeping an eye on that. But I really do think testing the major POC of this range at some point is slightly more likely than not, and I'd definitely be interested in shorting it because it's major, major resistance. And it aligns perfectly with our 618 from this last pivot high. So I've talked about this level quite a bit. Happy to just refresh it because I'll be paying a lot of attention to it when we come to it. Now, there's not a lot of structure here, so definitely want to see if there's any kind of reaction. Just because you have a nice level doesn't mean it's going to generate a reaction. But yeah, I think it's a high probability trade. Somebody's asking how much educational content you get access to as a tier 2 member. You get access to all of the content, all of the educational content. You just don't get access to daily updates and daily chart updates and my trade ideas that I'm taking. And my trade ideas aren't designed to be signals. It's just live examples of what I look for in trades and when I take entries, because it's really I think it builds more understanding and confidence and context and technical ideas when people see you trading them, right? And you're not, it's not just all hindsight. It's actually live market analysis and trades, because it seems very easy to, for example, when I took this ape short, some of this analysis is turned off here. When I took this ape short, one of the ideas was this ascending channel. One of the ideas was this local ascending channel. And on a low time frame, as we were right here, I gave an update saying, hey, what I'm probably going to do is if we get an impulse up into the top of this channel over the next hour or so, I'm going to short it aggressively. And my invalidation is going to be up here. I gave the reason for that. And so as that impulse came, I said I shorted aggressively. And it can seem easy in hindsight to be like, oh yeah, you short the top of the channel and you short this idea. But when it's happening, it doesn't look so easy to short. So I think, you got to kind of, you have to sort of put your money where your mouth is a little bit and say, hey, these are the types of ideas I like to trade. I'm waiting for this impulse up to the top of the channel. If I get it, I'm going to short aggressively. When it comes, you say, I shorted. And that looks scary to short for most people. And there's no guarantee that price is going to break down, right? But of course it does, and it looks great in hindsight, but not all trades work. But yeah, I think it's important to give live updates. I always get stuck on this page. Let me free. Right now, for anyone that's unaware, the Discord for Thanksgiving is open to, I think there should be a link in the description. It's open to everyone, the members Discord for Thanksgiving. I thought it'd be cool for us all to come together Thanksgiving style, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, get to know each other, spend a little bit, because the members Discord is so active. The public Discord has thousands of members, but just nobody really, it's not very active. I'd like that to change in the future. But yeah, I thought it'd be cool for people to hang out in a really active, supportive community full of great people, sharing great ideas, having great conversations. Somebody's asking, Brains is asking, what's my definition of an aggressive entry? It's essentially, there's no hem-hawing about it. I'm getting that impulse, I'm getting that reaction, and I'm taking that short instantly. So I'm not like essentially, even on the 1 minute chart here, I'm not hesitating or waiting for any kind of quote unquote confirmation. You know, you could be saying, well, I'm gonna wait for, because we did get a golden pocket retracement. I'm gonna wait for a rejection. I'm gonna wait for a retracement. In this case, I'm just shorting it aggressively. Whereas you could wait for something like this, which would have given you a great entry as well. And the reason, you know, the reason I prefaced at the time that I was going to take an aggressive entry is because I'm setting up, before this happens, when price is down here, I'm setting up the idea that my fingers on the trigger to take a short. I'm saying, hey everyone, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this impulse up into the channel, and I'm going to take a short. Because if I don't preface that that's what I'm expecting, that's what I'm looking for, that's what I'm looking to trade, well then by the time I take a trade, give an update, and you know, even on the 1 minute chart, prices just ran up and ran straight down, it can look very, you know, it can look kind of challenging for people to say, well, hey, I didn't know, like how would you know that you were going to short that? You didn't even have any time to react. Because if people assume that you weren't sitting there waiting for this to happen, then it seems very hard to take that position. But if you know, I'm making it clear, I'm expecting probably a sharp reaction off this channel. And so I'm prefacing that I'm looking to enter aggressively on an impulse up into this channel. And, you know, as a trader, sometimes you have to sit and wait when a level is approaching. You're waiting for that tap of the level, you're waiting for the reaction, and you're trying to execute as efficiently and quickly as you can. You can do that. Brains is saying, why not just set a limit order at the top of the channel and then front run it a bit? Sure, you could do that, but you're not guaranteed a reaction. It's also possible we just do this and there's no reaction. So for me, it doesn't really, I don't really have any hesitation when executing. So I can sit there, and if I see that level getting a reaction, because you have to think, you know, you can't take for granted that at the end of the day, we're just drawing lines on charts that in theory shouldn't really have anything to do with what price is doing or isn't doing, but they consistently do. At least the lines I draw on my charts do. So, you know, I come from the philosophy that no matter how consistent I am, no matter how quote unquote good my TA could be, at the end of the day, it's a line on the chart, and until I see price interacting with it, I really don't have any preconceived ideas of what is going to happen there. You know, that's just my personal preference. Setting limit orders on key levels with invalidation is certainly reasonable. And for a lot of people, they're going to find that easier because fear and doubt and all that stuff comes into play in a major way for a lot of people when they're trying to execute. Somebody asked, hi. Someone says, hi, I have a question regarding parallel channels. How do you draw your predictive channel? How do you get the trend angle? I have a video on that, and I think you remember the idea for the predictive channel is I guess ape would be, we had two of these channels on this setup. Let me just clear off everything here. Actually, yeah, that's fine. So the idea of a predictive channel, as I call them, is you get the trend angle from the opposite side of the trend, and you anchor it to this new high. And let me go to a lower time frame here because we had a low time frame channel as well. So the idea would be your angle comes from these lows, you anchor it to this high, and before the let me take off the extension here. So before the high comes in, you already have your channel drawn. You don't need the new high. So you're predicting a channel forming. And this is a technique that I've developed just because you'll find that on all time frames, price is constantly moving through parallel channels. And because a parallel channel is defined by a parallel line from opposite highs or lows, the thought is, well, you could oftentimes get major highs and lows by predicting a channel is going to form, because channels are always forming. And so in this case, you have the channel drawn before the channel is formed, and you use it as a type of confluence for your idea, where you have two channels, one on a high time frame, one on a low time frame, intersecting with one another. Yeah, I mean, that's a predictive channel is how I took this Tesla long. It's also how I quote unquote predicted the all-time high of Tesla. This isn't drawn properly. So on the day of Tesla's all-time high, I pointed out this idea of an ascending structure with this as the trend angle, this is the anchor. And I was just saying, hey, you know, here's an idea of a channel projected up into all-time highs. Is there anything else to say? Ended up being our major high. We obviously followed this descending trend line down, and we're potentially forming another channel. And so maybe we get some kind of nice reactions off of these levels. I think this would look quite good. Sorry, just skimming the comments. Even on Bitcoin here, this could have been deemed as a predictive channel. Now it's a formed channel. But if you had pulled on the opposite side, the trend angle from the highs, I'm anchoring it to this low, you could have predicted a channel forming with this low, because you have everything you need to draw the channel here, right? And then as price progresses, see the low come into this channel. I think this style of channels that I use is one of the more powerful technical tools out there. Okay, let me read through some of Brains' questions here. Okay, so yeah, so the idea of execution for me is I have my idea. If I get a reaction, I take a position off my idea, and I'm just not hesitating. I'm not taking undue risk. I don't care if the idea works or if it doesn't. If I'm there, I want to execute, and I just accept that I have no way to know what price will or won't do, and I execute my trade, and I'm not overthinking it. I know what I've taken tens of thousands of trades. I know what I'm looking for, and if I get it, I take the trade. I understand that some of my trades won't work, some will. I cut losers, and I try to let my winners play out. Someone's asking if I believe in buying spot for long-term investing, or you 100% just trading. So my perspective on spot versus quote-unquote trading is everything's a trade. Buying spot, the idea of buying spot and quote-unquote investing, well, that's just, to me, a swing trade, because At the end of the day, your goal is to buy something, have it go up in value, and sell it. And to me, that's a trade. So when you're coming up, whether you're quote buying spot for an investment or you're taking a swing trade, you want to have a thesis behind your trade, right? It could be fundamental. I prefer technical, but let's just say that you bought spot on this idea on near of a, oh, this is on the wrong exchange. Well, we swing failure to major level down here. For me, I might have a swing trade where I could end up holding this trade for months, but that's not, I still have an idea of, hey, I'm buying it for this reason. And I would probably always have an idea that, hey, if it goes against me or this level gives out, I'm going to just cut my position and look for a different setup. Now, the way I think people approach investing in spot is they just have no tools to find nice entries, to know when or why they would cut their position, whether in profits or at a loss. And so they just buy with zero risk management on their position. And they just say, I'm holding it till it goes to zero or until I'm a millionaire. And it's like, okay, well, you can do that for sure. But for me, I'd rather just, the technical ideas work on all time frames. So there's no reason, in my view, not to have some kind of thesis for your trades. For example, just to finish this point, is somebody might say, oh, I'm buying, if someone says, I'm buying spot near, and I say, oh, okay, well, what's your trade thesis? I'm just investing. Okay, well, why are you investing in it? Oh, because it's this project, as this team is doing this. Oh, okay, what's your goal? Where are you holding it until? And they say, until a 10x. Okay, so you wouldn't sell any at a 9x. No, I would wait for a 10x. Whatever their thesis is. Well, now they're starting to actually tell you what their trading plan is, and you just could evaluate. Does that make sense? Why a 10x? What's the reason for that target? Is it just a random target? Well, I think it's going to do at least 10, and I'd be happy with that. Okay, I mean, those are trade theses, and they're just, in my view, typically poorly formed ones. What would you do if price started going against you, and your position's down 80%, 20%, 50%, 80%? Oh, I just hold it till it goes up at least 10x, or until I get back to break even. It's like people's answers just start forming into, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just throwing money into the market and really hoping that we have another bull run and I can make a lot of money. And I have no risk mitigation. Everything hinges on just hoping that price goes up. Somebody's asking, do you redraw the channel when price breaks through? Well, yeah. I mean, typically. I don't have it redrawn on Ape here, because I've actually redrawn this just to show examples several times. But typically, you want to redraw your channels or your ideas if there's new levels, right? It's kind of the same idea of, would you re-pull your fibs if you've made new highs or lows? I'm not going to just keep using fibs that I pulled, months ago or days ago. We have new price action, so you need to adjust your analysis to fit the new price action. But this could also be viewed maybe as a descending channel idea as well. You'd take off the extension to the left, you put it to the right. It's not pulled perfectly clean, but maybe we start forming a descending channel on a lower time frame. You just would want to be aware of it at the very least. Maybe prices come down into some support levels and you have this descending channel drawn. Someone's asking if I look at CVD when you see the prices at a key level. Yeah, I typically do. Typically, I'm just looking at Bitcoin's CVD. Brains is saying, I get that you know what you're looking for because you've taken thousands of trades, but that doesn't necessarily mean that all of us, or even just myself, know what that execution looks like. Yeah, well, certainly. But I mean, like for example, on the ape trade, I think my I said I'd be looking for an aggressive. I think my exact words were I'd be looking at an aggressive entry because I made a video when we were down here. If I push up into this channel, and I said aggressive to me does not mean that I'm taking a huge size. It just means that I'm taking the position quickly. And I said this would be my invalidation up here. And then when the level came, the instant I took my position, I didn't update, said I took the short. So I guess, there's an element where when you're saying like, I might know what I'm looking for, but you don't or other people don't. There is only so much you can do to replace experience and the confidence that comes with it. And so when I'm giving my updates, what I'm trying to do is I think over time, these ideas become more clear, right? Like you see it once and like the average person sees this short entry on a 1 minute time frame once, and to them it's like magic, right? It's insane. Most would say I would never short that. If I say I'm going to short price when it comes up to this level and this happens on a 1 minute frame, most people, this is a breakout. This is bullish. Why would you ever short this? And to take that short on a 1 minute time frame, most people aren't going to understand how you could do that, why you would do that. And that's why I just try to share these types of technical ideas day in and day out, just to kind of build this perspective on the market. And I think, maybe I can find better ways to do that, but I do think there's not there needs to be a process, there needs to be a journey. Everybody's looks different, and trying to skip the journey is impossible. You can do things to make it easier, to make it quicker, to make it more clear, or even just to get on the right track. But yeah, I mean, I would say this: the very reason that I share my trade updates in the way that I do is because I'm trying to put these ideas into people's heads, right? Of hey, this is the way the market likes to move over and over again, repeating these types of ideas over and over again. And you can build trading styles and systems around them, and they don't all have to be identical. Like some people prefer scalping, some people prefer swing trading, some people prefer, we were talking the other day in Discord about higher win rate strategies versus lower win rate but more profitable statistically. Why does this always, I need to click up here. But the psychology of low win rate systems versus high win rate systems, etc. All right. I appreciate that. Singh says, just a compliment. I just wanted to say, after visiting multiple courses of multiple people, you are the most sensible and helpful guy I've ever seen. No fake 200x to the moon coins or bottom predictions. Well, I'm glad you find it helpful. I definitely have gotten pretty much overwhelmingly positive feedback, which is good. There's always things to improve on, but he says, at first it seemed boring and simple, but it works. Just want to say thanks and have a good Thanksgiving. Thank you. You as well. Simple is good. Not all of the ideas I, have on my charts, especially when you get into Elliott waves and things like that, are simple. But, a lot of times the ideas are simple. And simple doesn't necessarily mean easy to trade. And technical doesn't always mean easy to trade. Because it's still scary to take a position, especially for like the way I trade is counterintuitive, right? I'm longing the lows and I'm shorting the highs. Like for example, I longed ape um, here, and the idea was, well, maybe we form some sort of descending channel off of this trend line, and I longed here. We had some confluence, obviously, of at the time major golden pocket. Now, uh, yeah, I mean, longing ape here, not an easy trade to take at the time, right? But so, anyways, it's a simple idea, but simple doesn't necessarily mean easy to trade when you're counter trading the emotional kind of draw that the market is putting on you. And I'll just say I lose trades too. I lose trades all the time. The idea is you want your trades to make sense. You want your invalidation to make sense. You want your entries to make sense. You want your take profits to make sense. And you want, at the end of the day, your winners to outsize your losers. Um, to everyone wishing me a happy Thanksgiving, to you as well. Someone says, I am in a long on Bitcoin from the lows of the range. I want to add to my position. Where does it make sense to add to the position? After breakout, retest of POC, we take profit at 17,200 or head short. I might do a little bit of both. Yeah, as far as adding goes, I wouldn't be particularly like, yeah, I'd probably look to maybe for an idea of adding on a retest of the PLC and the 382. But I wouldn't probably long a breakout here because this can just get kind of iffy. I don't like trading breakouts. You can trade them, but your win rate's going to be small. So you just have to keep your risk reward high. It's just a totally different style of trading. I mean, I could, my win rate would be low. I bet I could, I know I could. I could trade breakouts profitably. I could share breakout trades. They're not difficult. You identify structure, you have consolidation, whether breakout or breakdown, and you trade breakouts like this, essentially. But you're going to get a lot of fake outs as well. You can increase your win rate by having some theses of like you're not breaking out into major resistance. You're breaking out towards resistance. And you can sometimes tighten these setups a little bit with, off the impulse low. Somebody's asking if is there a best win rate fib time frame? I mean, there may be. I don't have data on that specifically, but I would say typically your higher time frame fibs are more relevant, but price is moving toward around fibs all the time, right? So even if you're, scalping a range or whatever you're doing, you just have to keep in mind the time frame you're trading. So if you're looking to scalp resistance here, I mean, you have to keep in mind that your take profits need to be on the same time frame as your entries. So you're not probably going to be taking swing shorts off of a 15-minute fib level. I'm just reading some comments here. Aries asking, do you have a set of like 10 coins or so that you focus on, or do you go through a lot of different charts when searching for opportunities or trade setups? Um, I really like to keep, Bitcoin charted because the market's so correlated to it. Right now, you see a lot of alts moving. You know, when Bitcoin's ranging, alts like to do stuff, typically pump. But I end up charting so many things. I see so many charts because in the Discord, people are always sharing charts, always requesting charts. I do altcoin request live streams where I'll go through 25 charts. So I just have usually dozens and dozens of different things charted at any given time with alerts set. So Brain's asking, was there ever a time in your trading where you utilized fundamentals into your trading at all? Well, I'll say this. Personally, I don't. I my view on fundamentals is one, you have to have the correct kind of information. Two, you have to have the correct assessment of the fundamental information. So, one, even if you had some great fundamental thesis or information, you have to be able to understand the outcome of it. I think most people get their kind of fundamental analysis wrong. But I would say that probably in some ways I do use fundamentals or news, but I counter trade it. You know, I made the point that right at the low here, like literally the I keep drawing these marks, I don't mean to. Literally the dollar low of this key horizontal and coming into this channel, that there was this big or there was this news of this massive 300,000 car recall at Tesla. I said it's always interesting to see at the absolute major support when you have this super bearish news come out. And, you know, a lot of people might say, oh, I was going to long Tesla here, but now they're recalling 315,000 cars. I'm not going to, that sucks that there's bad news, it's probably going to dump. Well, my view on that is that makes me want to long it more. So I guess in some ways I am using news or fundamentals, but I'm counter trading I'm not ever using the prevailing narrative as like, the long-term 10-year horizon of such and such as my thesis, because so much can change in 10 years, right? So I'm never saying like, oh, Bitcoin is going to replace. I'm never taking a long entry and saying, Bitcoin's going to replace the fiat currency system and the whole world's going to adopt Bitcoin and therefore I'm long here and my target's $1 billion. I'm still just going to trade level to level. And then as far as short-term narratives go, I'm typically looking to counter trade them. Because you'll find over and over again, I talk about this a lot, these really bullish narratives and events and stories typically always come out right around resistance, and really bearish ones come out right around support, and it'll just happen over and over and over again. And I guess in some ways you could say, well, of course there needs to be something bullish happening, or why would price be at resistance, right? But I do find it's not uncommon for something like a big Tesla recall news headline to come out right here and not here, or here. Here, there's just like insanely bullish stuff coming out every day, and that's the top. And the amazing thing is it's technical over and over and over again. So it's just really hard for me to think, oh, I should spend a bunch of my time researching Tesla's fundamentals when I could show you some crazy stuff on Tesla. They're like, golden pockets obviously always relevant, right? Look at this. Golden pocket retracement, what amount of fundamental research could I possibly do to replace this? It's incredible. Or to replace this. It's just like, it's not, it doesn't even cross my mind because it's just the value of understanding the quote unquote fundamentals pales in so much comparison to having strong technical abilities and analysis. So that's how I spend my time and efforts. And if I happen to see some bullish narratives, for example, I did a tweet because I was looking for shorts on CHC, and it kind of sucks because I was in an Uber going out. It was a Friday night. I had the idea of shorting this swing failure on CHZ, right? Which I missed, and we've had like a 40% drawdown. But I did a tweet around here and saying, I just asked, what coin do you think has the most bullish narrative over the next 2 weeks? And I expected more people to say CHZ, right? Because of the World Cup. I mean, people were mentioning it a lot. But that made me more interested in looking for shorts on CHC. Because there's a bullish narrative forming around the World Cup, expecting some kind of pullback, good opportunity for shorts. I don't care about I care about the fundamentals in an inverse way. Someone's asking, how do I choose a coin? There's a lot of volume. You can look for, relative changes in volume. But I just trade technical ideas. And I mean, I have the benefit of having, I mentioned this already, dozens and dozens of things charted at any given time, right? For example, I've had this level for weeks on XRP, this idea for a short. I updated this in the Discord recently, very earlier today, of swing filtering this high into the 382. So, XRP, I just have had this level marked in. If I start flipping through this list, I'm going to find a lot of setups, not all of them, but let's see. These charts get a little messy during the live streams, but I have alerts down here for Matic. I have this channel drawn, but I'm saying, hey, I can look at this and say, hey, we could sweep this low into the golden pocket. A reclaim of this would be interesting for me for a long. And if I get this alert, I'll be trading Matic. So yeah, Brains is saying it's so wild. Do you think that these entities drop the news because they know it's about to be at support and they were trying to wreck retail, or is there just some sort of weird quantum correlation we don't understand? Well, I would say this. I mean, I think there's a few factors probably, but one would be, let's just say there is, to whatever degree the market's manipulated, there needs to be liquidity, right? So if big entities want to fill long positions, they need to give people a reason to be scared and selling off their positions because they need somebody on the other side of their long. So yeah, maybe there there are entities that are pushing negative or bearish narratives at support or bullish narratives at resistance because they need to load and unload their positions. And if enough of that liquidity comes in, then their positions are filled and they reverse the market. As far as how those events tend to align so well from like a timing perspective on key technical ideas, it's weird. I think there's probably something going on where there's a collective sort of psychology in the market, and because people are typically the same, they operate with the same emotional triggers. that you just see these levels and patterns repeat. Um, and you know, when you think about the market as like it's evolved for liquidity, and so it would make sense that there's certain types of price action that optimize for liquidity, and the market will just repeat them because it just so happens that, you know, it's like if you're looking at order flow, for some reason when you get to key fibs, you'll see tons of longs opening at resistance all the time. You'll see tons of shorts opening at support all the time, and then price reverses. And so there's actually people trading in a very noticeable way where the majority of the shorts are coming in at the lows and the majority of the longs are coming in at the highs, and then they get wrecked. And you can see it in the order flow data, and it happens over and over and over and over again. So there needs to be some kind of psychological trigger that these types of levels and breaks and price action form in people's heads. Which is why I think everyone has that idea of, like, say price is dropping, and they say, I'm finally gonna take the short, and as soon as they take the short, price reverses, and as soon as they take the long, price reverses, and everybody has that sentiment or feeling that happens, and I think it's because typically people are operating the same way. Man, Steve is saying, in swing failures, you talk about showing weakness, but your shorts are always right at the swing failure level. Well, once a swing failure's occurred, it's occurred. I mean, it could break out still, it might not. I typically don't mind taking aggressive entries on major swing failures, and you might end up even trading it twice. The risk reward is usually adequate for that. I'm going to go to XRP here. So, yeah, what I would say is, more so than necessarily major weakness, I'm looking for a reaction. I'm looking for the level to be swing failure. You know, Bitcoin's a good example here. This was a very quick and minor swing failure, right? We just barely grabbed the low here, and then we took the low, and we had a very quick reversal. Well, I don't mind just trading those reactions aggressively, because you're still taking a position from, typically if you're trading major swing failures, from the lows or the highs of the range, which are always interesting positions to look for. And if you get stopped out, you get stopped out. But the risk reward is usually quite good entering in aggressively on major swing failures. And so I'm looking for that reaction. Like if price just did this and didn't reclaim the level, well then it's probably a little questionable to be longing until the level's reclaimed. But if you have the reaction, well, you have the reaction, and the level's been swept, reclaimed. Doesn't mean you can't go lower. It just means, hey, that's for me usually a long trigger with invalidation. I am interested to see what, if anything, here happens if we can tap the 382 on XRP. I would like to come up and sweep this high into the 382 and then reject. Someone asking if I trade with fair value gaps. I do not, but there are some members that use them quite a bit in the Discord. Someone's saying, is your experience with Binance, and why don't you like Binance and you like more Bybit? I've had a terrible experience with Binance. One, constantly going down during big moves. Big move happens, the entire exchange goes down over and over again. It's a little suspicious, a little crazy. The uptime on Bybit is insane. I don't know if I've ever had it go down on a key move. If I have, it's not in my memory. I also love Bybit's trading interface. I think the BTC USD per pair has is one of the most technical charts and has great liquidity. I also had money locked up on Binance for over a year, which was a really annoying experience. And yeah, I just love, I love Bybit's trading interface. I think it gives you a huge execution edge with the different tools it has. So I'm a huge fan of Bybit. I've used it for years and years, and will continue to use it. For anyone interested, there is a promotion on Bybit going right now, which is actually amazing. There should be a link in the description of this live stream. If you join with a partner link, and I am a partner, there's up to $30,000 in deposit bonuses. And it's certainly worth taking advantage of. It's on a scale, so it's dependent on how much you deposit into the exchange, and then you need to meet a minimum volume requirement. But it's sort of scaled, so if you're depositing that amount of money and you're actively trading, you're probably going to hit your volume requirements. Yeah, as far as I think some people have been requesting some charts here. I wasn't really going to do a bunch of chart requests here. I kind of just thought I'd pop onto live stream, say hello, give some thoughts on Bitcoin, just chat, hang out, and then maybe wrap it up. Everyone can enjoy their holiday for those that it's a holiday for. And maybe I'll do a longer live stream where we look at scalping ideas and different things. Maybe it'd be on Monday now. I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense to do it tomorrow, but all right. Well, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. I just sort of did it as an impromptu thing. But interested in looking at shorting higher on Bitcoin. It is looking a little bit more likely, but we'll see that XRP comes up higher. But let's see how this structure holds. This looks pretty much like a 786. So this is another thing. Alts on all time frames, they love the 786 fib. So most alts on most time frames, if you're pulling this 786 on any time frame, you're gonna usually see a pretty clean reaction off of it. Not always, but it's a very nice level. And just by definition, a 786 gives you the absolute, gets you very close to range low. So as an invalidation, you typically have this pretty tight window if you're trading a range or a retracement idea. All right, thanks guys. I'm gonna wrap it up for now. Definitely come check out the Discord. Well, it's open to non-members. You can get members access right now. Hang out over Thanksgiving, and we'll get back to it, after the holidays.